When I was first getting started, the biggest thing that I actually messed up on was my outreach script. I had tried one, two, three, I think around five outreach scripts, and none of them had got me great results at all. And what I soon realized is that it wasn't actually the script that was wrong. It was all the components outside of the script that weren't tangling well with the script when I actually applied them. So in today's video, I'm going to break down the three components that I realized outside of the message script, along with how to actually create your message script so that you can book appointments to sign your first free trial client the exact same way that I did. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Outreach and what makes it work. So, big disclaimer. All the knowledge in this video is completely from my experience. I am not the biggest agency owner in the world. I'm just sharing what has helped me along the way. So, script is a small part of the actual outreach equation. And what I've learned that there is no perfect outreach equation. There is no perfect appointment. There is no perfect message structure. And that's because everything we do as humans is actually imperfect, right? If there was a perfect sales script, then you'd see people close in every single deal. But the true nature of this is that everyone's going through different things in their life at different times, feeling different ways. So certain outreach scripts might hit the right person at the wrong time or the right person at the right time. So nothing's ever going to be perfect. And understanding that is really important because you need to know that it's always going to be a numbers game to some extent. Knowing that, success is going to come from testing quality ingredients until you find the winning recipe. So trying things that you know work and have been proven in the past over and over again in different combinations until you eventually find the one that works for you in your specific situation. And again, success lies in mastering the components in outreach outside of the script. So if we look at the ranking in importance over here, we can see that there are two, maybe even three things that are actually above the script in importance. So before we're going to get started, I want to make sure that you understand outreach is by no means easy. It is never going to become easy. And it is the one thing that will change your life. So before you watch the rest of this video, before you start doing outreach and before you build your script, you need to make sure this is the road you want to go down in social media marketing and business, because once you've made your decision and act accordingly, it could change your life forever. And if that's something you're not ready for, don't really want to do it and are not serious about, I wouldn't move forward because this is going to be the one thing that does change it. So that being said, make sure you're all strapped up. The first component is going to be leads. So you need good targeting, right? And you want to make finding mass leads and finding a mass amount of leads easy for yourself, because if you can't, outreach is going to become extremely friction and there's going to be a lot of, kind of negative feelings behind actually doing outreach because leads are so hard to come by for you. So if you're going on Google or MyIP and you're looking for business domains and it takes you 2 hours to find 25 leads, outreach isn't going to be fun, right? Because it's going to take you so long every single time you actually want to get started with outreach and start moving your business forward. It's just a drag to find all those leads. So one thing you really want to make sure is that you have the ability to find a lot of leads easy. What this will also give you is an abundance mindset, meaning that you do not give well, let's say damn here about a single lead in a good way. And what I mean by that is if someone gives you a tough objection, you have 7 other people in the pipeline that you're working at the exact same time. So one objection is never going to be enough to slow you down, completely halt you from whatever you're doing. And when you have all these things done and you can find leads and come by them easy, so much friction is removed from your outreach, because now you think about it as something that's simple, right? You find your leads pretty easy, 30 minutes, you got 50 to 100 leads, boom, and then you just send out the messages. And because you have so many and you're in such an abundance, you do not, have friction towards outreaching. It isn't hard to get into for the day, and no prospect, no matter what objection they throw at you, is ever going to stop you because you've got so much going on. And as much as, this is a small text and I have a little joke image there about targeting, this is one of the most important things. This will give you a whole paradigm shift on the way you actually look at outreach and the way that you operate. So that being said, our second component is going to be interaction and positioning. So one question you need to ask yourself: does every prospect know that you've messaged them? And if the answer is no, or is not in almost every other situation yes, then you're doing something wrong, because it means that your first message isn't even being seen, so you don't know if it works or if it doesn't work. The easiest way to make sure someone actually looked at your post and make sure they understand what's going on is by liking the post that they have on their page and then commenting relevant and quality remarks. So if you go to a prospect's page and you see that they got a new job done, let's say we're in the HVAC niche and they did a new installation, you could comment on the quality of the installation, say it looks good. do things that are actually going to nurture the prospect and share a personal story instead of just commenting a fire emoji or saying sent you a DM. And the thing that you want to also combine kind of the interaction and positioning with is just following up until you either get a yes or a no. I can't state like how big follow-ups are. I used to be the person that sent out 100 messages every single day, 100 new messages, and then would complain when I wasn't getting appointments, even though I wasn't following up with all the prospects that I had previously messaged. And it wasn't until actually a friend gave me this piece of advice that I started to actually rack up and follow with everyone that I had messaged before. And I realized it's a lot easier to make them respond than it is to get a cold prospect to go down the entire pipeline again to interact with their page and to make them respond. And when you keep doing this and hitting them in different places, responding to their stories, commenting on old posts, liking new stuff, instead of just, putting a, meme, GIF, whatever it is, in the top of their inbox, you are going to make it unreasonable for them not to respond. And if you do this with every prospect, you're going to have around a 50 to 40% response rate after doing all the follow-ups. So if you can do this and you combine this with an abundance of leads and you're, in an abundance of leads, you don't have difficulty coming by them, and then you make sure every lead is positioned properly where you know that you've liked their post, you've commented quality remarks, and you followed up with them, you have already cracked a lot of the outreach code. You could have the worst message in the entire world and you would still get responses, right? I had a huge text blur, but I made sure I was good at, these two things right here of leads and interaction. And through doing that, I was getting one appointment a day just through sheer hustle, sheer hard work, and then combining it with good follow-up and good positioning and lead scraping. So that being said, we can optimize things with our script. And there are three key parts of a script. That is the hook and rapport, the offer, and then eventually closing the appointment. So the hook. This is the most important message in the entire kind of outreach script. And the key with this is going to be to appear casual so you can evoke a response from the prospect that you're messaging. And easiest way to do this is to ask a question that's easy but not a guaranteed response. So that might be a little bit confusing. So I'll give you an example. Let's say we're targeting the HVAC niche. A good first message could be, do you do heating installs? Right? With most HVAC companies, the answer is going to be yes. But because we ask it and there is a potential of it being no, we're going to appear as a, genuine potential customer, but also, not asking about their exact service, for example. And what that does, it gets a lot of responses so that we have a funnel shape and we can, get a bunch of responses at the top and then narrow down as we get more businessy and deeper into our actual script. So, and then what we also want to do, and it's optional, but comment on their page informing them of the question. So instead of saying sent you a DM and, begging them to respond, you could do something a lot more genuine. Hey, left a question about your services in your IG inbox. When can I expect to hear back? That's very different and it doesn't give that same, kind of salesy and pretty non-caring feel that a sent you a DM kind of gives off. So that being said, if we have a good hook and we combine all the components, everything else in the slideshow does not matter. But the key thing that I want everyone here to focus on is to make sure that we have an abundance of leads. This is the biggest thing that we can do. That being said, let's move on to the offer. So with our offer, authenticity, and what I've seen is that authenticity wins over everything else in your offer. So when you're actually selling your offer, you want to state the vacation, not the plane ride. This means to sell the desired result and not the way of doing it. As an example, if you're doing Facebook ads, you're not going to tell them that you're going to retarget men over 50. You're going to say, I'll get you X amount of leads down your pipeline, right? And you want to keep your offer as short and sweet as possible. If you make too long of an offer, people just can't be bothered to read it. And then optional is always going to be a mousetrap offer. So offering a free consulting, free testimonial of some sort, just so you can get on the call. But that's for another video. So as an example, you could say, and again, this is in the HVAC niche, full transparency, I'm a 16-year-old building a business and I'm trying to build trust in the HVAC industry. Was wondering if you'd be opening for me working for free, generating you some high quality leads. All I ask in return is a testimonial in a world full of marketing claims. And by doing this, it's fully genuine, right? This is the full truth and you don't want to try and appear as an expert when you're not. And by doing this and appearing genuine, you can get a lot further than by lying to your prospects and, acting and puffing your chest out thinking that that's the best way to sell, because it's not. And the final part is going to be closing. So if a prospect's interested, it's time to schedule a call. Biggest thing in actually sealing a call is understanding how your niche works and what type of people you're actually trying to get on calls with. So is Calendly going to be the easiest? Is manually scheduling with email going to be easier, or asking them to write it down in their notes? So as an example, a friend had mentioned this to me. I used to send Calendly links to absolutely everyone, recommend Calendly links for everyone. Then I'd met a friend who's in the car detailing niche. And in car detailing, the people aren't as tech savvy. So when you send them a Calendly link, it's either not going to get filled out properly, or they don't use Google Calendar. So then they don't end up showing up to the call. And you've done all this setting, but it's not worth anything to the actual sales call, because no one's going to show up. So with this example, you want to look at who they are and then give them a kind of scheduling tool accordingly. So if you're targeting, again, car detailing, you might ask them to write it down in their notes and then to give them a call or schedule it in their, written calendar. If you're targeting online consultants, then you can send a Calendly because they know how that works. But you never want to be kind of forcing on your prospect, and understand that they have a technological barrier in the first place. And don't look at this as bad, is also a huge thing, because having that technological barrier just means that there's more of a need for you to actually come in and help them. If they can't even figure out how to use Calendly, how can they expect to run Facebook ads, or how can they expect to run Google ads or do some type of lead generation? That means that you need to come in, help them, and wow them. So that being said, if we combine the hook, offer, and closing, we have a banger outreach script, and then we make sure we're in an abundance of leads, interaction, and have a good script down. We have, boom, we've completely done it. And it's time to build your script. So all I ask from you is that you give me your word that you'll take action, and if you do, your life will change forever. Because outreach is going to be the biggest domino for you to pull. And if you go back, you look at all these things and you just throw a script together, no matter what it is, make sure that you have your abundance of leads down, make sure you found a good way to get leads, and make sure you're interacting and positioning. If you just start sending out the messages, I promise your life will change. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.